First off, you're going to be checking if the fabric draws, and it draws more uniquely on one side. I'll be writing out what we'll be working with. So from the shoulder to where the skirt will start from would be 18 inches. Okay, the total length of the skirt would be 18 inches. Therefore 18 plus 18 is 36 inches. This is from shoulder to where the skirt will actually stop, will give you 36 inches. But if it's from the waist to where the skirt will stop, it will be 18 inches. The skirt waist is what I usually call it, because it's different from where the half length is. Skirt waist in this case is 32.5, right? Hip here is 40.5. Bear in mind, this skirt has a slit, right? So these are the measurements we're going to be working with. Length of skirt is 18 inches, skirt waist is 32.5, hip is 40.5. This is the half inch at the top. This is the 1 inch seam allowance for the zip. So we're going to be marking a waistband of 1.5 with half inch seam allowance. This is also a seam allowance we're using. So 32.5 divided by 4 will give you 8.1. Then we're going to be marking 1 inch allowance. Okay, so waistband is ready. So after doing that, we're going to be creating another seam allowance this way. This is waist. We're going to be creating another seam allowance. That is where we're going to be attaching the waistband to the skirt. So we're using 0.5, create the seam allowance. This is in the seam allowance for the skirt, the seam allowance is for the waistband. So from this seam allowance point now, we're going to, remember the waistband is 1.5, so we're going to be keeping it at 1.5 at this mark, this point. See it, 1.5. Can we see it? 1.5. And from that 1.5, we're going to be marking 18 inches. Remember we said the total length of our skirt is going to be 18 inches. So we're going to be marking 18 inches. Then you mark the seam allowance you used to turn the bottom of your skirt. I would use 1 inch for mine. Our zip allowance did not extend down, so we're going to be extending it by marking 1 inch. Our zip allowance is 1 inch. Then you're going to connect. So you simply extend what you have at the waistband to the waist, since it's the same measurement. Now we're going to be marking the hip point. The shoulder to where the skirt is supposed to start from is 18, right? So 18 to where the waistband stops is 19.5. We're going to be moving at 19.5 to this point. We're going to be marking our hip point. Our hip point in this case is 28. All of the hip is 40.5 divided by 4, 10.1. So we're going to be marking it here. Then we're going to be marking it. So I'm going to extend it this way. At the bottom of my skirt, what I usually do is my hip divided by 4 minus 1.375. So our answer here is 8.75. Here, then we're going to be using 1 inch to connect it this way. When you'll be sewing the sides of your skirt, since it draws, you will be using 1.2 to your seam allowance. Remember, we gave 1 inch. We're going to be using 1.2 on every point to make sure it's fitted. I know you will not be cutting it in a stretchy fabric, just use your regular 1 inch. So I'll be showing you how I cut out the waistband point. Remember, this half inch is for the skirt, this half inch is for the waistband, so I'll be cutting in between. So this is the waistband for the back. When you want to cut the one for the front, you simply just fold in the 1 inch seam allowance. Now, I'll be using this pattern to cut both the front and the back. This particular one, not the waistband, this one, because my skirt has a slit in front. You get, so I'll be using this pattern to cut the front and the back. So to cut the skirt, remember I said the part that stretches stays around the body. So it draws that way, so I'll be folding. So to be cutting the front, this is how. Keep it directly on the center of the fabric. Okay, we're cutting the skirt on fold, we're cutting the waistband on fold. We're going to cut 2, this we're going to cut 1. So after pinning everything down, it's time to cut. Remember, I folded the 1 inch inside. I didn't fold the 1 inch inside for this one because I'm having the slit in front of the skirt. Don't get it confused. Because if you're to sew a normal skirt without slits, you would have folded this part inside and cut it without the 1 inch zip allowance. I cut 2 pieces of the waistband for the front on fold. Then I cut the front piece on fold. Also, remember to notch all the required areas. Now to cut the back, I would simply open up that part of the waistband I folded in so that I would have my seam allowance for the back. And then I'm going to place it on my fabric, and we're not changing anything for this one. We're going to use it as it is. I didn't pin it at the edge of the fabric, unlike for the front. Same thing for the waistband. So for the back now, I didn't cut on fold, and I cut 4 pieces for the waistband. 4 pieces. I didn't cut on fold. Remember to notch all the required areas. For the part where you would be attaching a zip on the skirt, you have to notch. I cut the 1/2 inch area, the hip points, and then the seam allowance point, so that you know where to turn and where to join both sides together. The first thing we'll be doing in this video is we're going to be sewing the waistband part. We're going to sew the top of the waistband. So I proceeded to sew it just as I said. Then next up, you're going to flip it and press it down. Okay, proceeded to press it down, and this is what it looks like. Next up, I'll be pinning it onto the skirt. With the front facing the waistband, I'll be pinning the waistband to it. Remember, we notched. That notch is going to help us now. So we're going to pin it from the beginning to the end, after which you use the 0.5 to stitch it close. After doing that, you leave the edges of here, and then your waistband will be ready. I'm going to repeat for the other side of the back. So I have proceeded to attach the waistband on both sides, leave the edge, and then I used iron to press it down. Turn the bottom of your skirt by the 1 inch we allocated for it for the seam allowance at the bottom. For the zip allowance point, pin it from the hip point down to the bottom of the skirt, then sew using 1 inch to the end. Make sure the stitch is firm. I'll be attaching my zip, my visible zip, to the remaining part of the zip allowance. After attaching the zip, the back is ready. So this is my front bodice. I spread it open. This is the waist part. This is the hip point. This is the seam allowance. And this is how it sits across the body. So you decide where you want your slit to be. My slit is going to be on the left part of my body. We know what our waist is, we know what our hip is, and we know what we use for the bottom, right? For the waist, we did the waist divided by 4, and we had 8.1. For the hip, we did 40.5 divided by 4, and we had 10.15. Then for the seam allowance part, remember we used 8.125 because we divided the hip by 4 and we minus 1.375. Remember, for the waist part, we said this 8.125 plus the 1 inch seam allowance we added, we're marking 1 inch. From that point, we're going to be marking 4.5. because that's where I would want the slits to sit on. Remember, this is 9.1, right? So we'll check what we have left from this point, and we have 7.625. But from here to here is 9.125, right? So you're going to be doing 9.125 minus 7.625, which will give you 1.5. So that's how you know the amount of space you're going to be needing for your slits at this top. So you're going to be marking 1.5 and 1.5. Such a way that, you know, this space in between is going to be cut out for the slit. But to confirm that our measurements are accurate, you put your tape back at that beginning point, which is 4.5. After which, you take your mark to this other side and see it's 9.125. So we are in order. So we're going to be going to the hip point. For the hip point, remember we did 40.5 divided by 4. We have 10.125 plus 1. That's 11.125. So from here to here, we're going to be marking 11.125 here, right? So we're going to be finding our 4.5 like we did at the top. 4.5 is here. After you mark 4.5, you're going to be taking 1 inch after it. That's 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and that's the one for here. For the bottom, we did the hip divided by 4 minus 1.375, and we had 8.75. So we're going to be adding 1 inch to it, which is 9.75, and then we're going to be marking 4.5 here, and then we're going to be taking out 1 inch on both sides, right? Make sure as you're doing this point, you check to confirm that what is left after we take out the center is the same as what is here. So I have joined all the lines and I'm just going to be cutting it out now. So, okay, something happened. I got distracted, and instead of me to cut only through this line, I cut out my allowance. I would have used to sew the slits down. So bearing in mind the error that I spoke about, that I made in a black skirt, this was what I was supposed to do. Cut through the middle line this way, then place it this way, okay, and notch where these 2 points meet each other, these 2 chalk line meet each other. You notch it because you know you start from this point to sew. Then also you find the hip point line and you mark, because from that hip point line you'll be coming down by 1 inch. So the hip point line is here. So from here you'd mark 1 inch. Make sure you pin it down. 5.5, I believe. So I'm going to be using the 1 inch up to the 5.5. Then this, I'll be sewing from here this way to the 1 and then stop here. So I finished stitching it down to the point I told you I'll stop at. After which, I proceeded to fold the allowance from the top to the bottom. See what the allowance look like. Remember, I have not done this other part, but I've done this. So after doing the both sides, this is what I'll do. I'll spread it out, fold here in, same as here. You can either use hemming gum to make this stay flat or stitch it down. I would stitch mine down. You then press it. Use iron to press it and then attach the waistband. So for the black one that I made that error of taking out my sewing allowance, this was what I did. I used 0.2 to sew. Then I weave the edges. After weaving the edges, I placed it flat down, both sides, and then I stitched on it. As you can see. And then I turned the bottom of the skirt. So next up, I'll be attaching the waistband. I'll be doing the same thing I did for the back, for the front waistband. Front facing front, sew it with 0.5 inch, turn it, iron it, and then attach to the waist. You're going to place the front and the back together. I've already joined mine and join it with 1.25 inches if your fabric draws, or 1 inches if your fabric does not draw, and your skirt is ready.